Stop the recording. The shooting arm.
It's still there. Little getting a little rotator cuff issues, but
Got mine done already.
uh-oh. Can you see my Georgetown? Wait.
Yeah.
I had it all set up here with my computer, but I didn't. Oh, Puma, get that off. Okay, Niki.
Here it is.
Niki, that's it, right here.
Represent.
That's an expensive cup right there, Chris.
Oh, please.
But hey, listen, it's all worth it. All worth it.
It's beautiful. Oh, now you're gonna sit. What do you say? All right.
Okay, we're live. Hoya Locker Room, episode 36. By far for me, the most special episode. I want to thank Niki, Chris, and Leni for showing up, stopping through. The goal here at Hoya Locker Room is to celebrate our Hoya family. I just want to give a shout out to the Hoya women who hooped while I was there 60 years ago, just on GP. So that would be Abby Dillon, class of 81, Casey Comerford, class of 82, Allison Westbrook, class of 85, and Diane Tolliver, rest in peace, class of 84, my class. So with that, ladies, I can't express how happy I am and how nervous I am. Just because I'm on a phone call with legendary Hoyas. And, you know, I'll just start with Coach Reid. And I want to say your last name, but my linguistics are a little challenged, so I'm going to stick with Coach Reid. I want to thank you for being here because I pretty much know your schedule must be nonstop. It's important. You're impressive. Your resume is impressive. You're coaching from Fordham to Townsend, back to Georgetown, speaks for itself. Chris, number 8, all-time leading scorer, men's and women's. That in and of itself says enough. Big East player of the year. Who followed you was Rebecca Lobo, so that tells you everything. Leni, number 5 all-time rebounder in the school's history, men's and women's. I'm in such good company.
Thank
you. You know,
Thank you.
You know, this is awesome. So I just want to start and just lob out some questions, some conversational things. I hope you guys share some stories as we go along. I always go off script just because I'm challenged that way. But I just like to start with what led you to come to Georgetown, not known for women's hoop. What was the impotence? What was that journey like? And, you know, whoever wants to start first.
I go. Well, why did I choose Georgetown? Because we were nobody. I felt as though I could get some playing time. Okay, you know, that's when you're getting recruited. You know, that's the first thing seniors want to know. Can I start? Can I play? You know, they don't know. They don't have no clue what they're walking into. So I thought I could be a lot of playing at Georgetown versus the other schools. It was more closer to my home.
What other schools were recruiting?
Tennessee, Penn State, UVA, you know, pretty much
All-American.
Yeah.
My All-American girl.
Yeah. So Georgetown was, and the history of Georgetown, I said, you know, after basketball, what are you left with? I think I have the best education out there. And that's why I really went for the education and also to help build this program with these lovely ladies. And we really had a good time growing up together.
Awesome. And clearly that's exactly what happened. If you take what had transpired in the women's program before this crew arrived, there were basically just losing seasons. The program started in 70, 82, 80 or 82, they joined the Big East, and it was just basically ass whoopings. You guys show
We had a
up.
few of those too.
Yeah, but
we had our share of those.
Freshman, sophomore year maybe, but junior year you were 20-8. and then senior year, you're 23-7. So clearly something changed in the dynamics, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. Again, the journey to Georgetown, how'd you get there? Chris, I know you Jersey Shore, legendary, 54 points. And I didn't have 54 points in my career. So,
well, I had a lot of making up to do. I kind of got a late start, I guess, in my career. So I think the girls, Leni and Niki, know I like to shoot, and they got the hang of that real quick when I came to the hilltop. They're like, all she can do is shoot. She can't even play defense. But I think you look back and you look at your journey, and you say, first year in high school and you're working your butt off, and my goal was to get a college scholarship. And that was my end goal. I need to get a college scholarship. I need to, that's how I'm going to get to college. And so I worked really hard to achieve that, not really knowing what I was going to get myself into. And I had the opportunity, thankfully, to go to Georgetown, which they were always my number one choice. They offered me a scholarship. At the time, I was the second leading. My senior year in high school, I was second in the nation in scoring. So I would think I was scoring in the low 40s per game. So I was putting my name on the map.
Just the low 40s. Just the low 40s.
Yeah. But nobody really knew who I was. And I think Georgetown, they looked at my potential and they said, there's something about her. She's a diamond in the rough. And I think our coach Knapp saw something with the combination of the three of us, and he put a lot of effort and said, these three are special. And it wasn't until getting to Georgetown that I realized I'm this big fish. Here I am, I'm leading second in the nation in scoring. I think, I'm all big and proud. And, I get to Georgetown, and everybody is, they always say that it's a cliche, a big fish in a small pond, and then small fish in a big pond, but it's so true. And you had to adapt. And Niki will attest to this. Our first day out, we're playing 5-on-5 scrimmage, and I didn't know how to play defense. I just knew how to shoot the ball. And I blocked Niki. We were on the same team, and I blocked Niki. So she looked at me, and she's like, don't you know how to step out of the way? You just blocked me. You just picked me off. And I'm looking at her. I'm like, I don't know. So I literally, my eyes were open to a bigger experience. And, but the three of us together at that time, I knew Coach Knapp had faith in us that we were going to make something on the hilltop. And it started early on, right when we got there. But it was quite scary when we first got there, at least for me anyway. I thought, oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to be able to survive here. But I had Niki and Leni to help push me through it, and that's how we got where we were after the 4 years. Wouldn't you agree?
So you weren't heavily recruited. It was just Georgetown and nobody
a couple
else.
Other schools, yeah, but no, I wasn't really heavily recruited. I didn't take the opportunity to go to camps and being well seen and visualized by the recruiters, because I played a little AAU, but that was about it. I didn't go to camps or anything through high school. I didn't know that I needed to be doing that.
Thank you for gracing the hilltop. Thank you.
Well,
Coach Reid.
It was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Chris is talking about the amount of points she put on the board, and I just want to thank you, because that's why I ended up all-time leading assist leader. Is
all the shots you missed, Chris. I got it. Thank you.
Yes, between Chris and Lynn, when you talk about your journey, I mean, it always starts with that academic piece too. You just talk about what comes with that, and I think Leni kind of alluded to that. What would we be doing after those 4 years were over? But for me, it was between Georgetown and UVA at the end. And Lynn, I would agree, playing time. There was a guard named Don Staley at UVA. I would have been her.
Oh, yeah.
He was my host when I went to my visit. And me and Dawn Staley played our AAU team together. I played with Philadelphia.
Actually, that UVA team was, the out in the Sweet 16 year.
It's ironic. Every team that recruited me, we met in the final. Penn State. we every school that recruited me, we ended up facing, and it was great.
Yeah, yeah.
We were the Cinderella team,
Oh, clearly,
but
yes.
we had roles. All of us had roles, and that's what a lot of kids lack today. They don't like roles.
Well,
Chris was a shooter.
what
That's
was
period.
so impressive for me, like just delving into the careers a little bit, particularly on that crew, is that so many people stepped up during the year.
Right.
I just this is the nucleus here, but there were just so many instances. The triple overtime Miami game, like it was just like that year. I just wish I could have been there just to see that, because it was such a journey. And again, you guys knocked on the door the year before and you kicked in the door the following year. But I didn't mean to cut you off, Coach. I'm bad at that. So please let's get back to you, please.
That's okay. And you know what?
Yeah.
The one thing I want to say about what you just said, Gene, was that junior year for us. You're talking about Peggy Jewell, Trisha Corris, Karen Sheehan, and then going before that, Julie Makuta, Crystal Ridgeway. There were so many people that poured into us when we first got there that by the time we got to our junior and senior year, like you said, Lynn, we knew our role. We knew what we needed to do. So I think, when you talk about Hoya basketball, I mean, you can attest to this. It's just a tradition that comes along with it. We were just able to reap the benefits that senior year where we had an incredible run. It just takes everybody. But back to, a little bit of the journey, just growing up in the Tidewater area down in Hampton. I mean, I'm hearing about this male player over in Norfolk, who ended up coming to Georgetown. So, he played for the same AAU program, playing for Booth Williams. So that's kind of where that Georgetown thing kind of started. And I mean, it was just so much on your side, on the men's side, what you guys did in terms of basketball and a name for Georgetown that just brought so much excitement. And I know for the three of us, that's something that we wanted to do, when we came there. I mean, we came, during the summer. I think the first thing we did was put our bags down, called each other, went to Yates, and it was time to just
Who?
Y'all know about Yates, boy. You did all day playing Yates.
You sure I went?
Wait, Lenny, you were
I was sleeping.
we got calling Lenny. Is she still sleeping? Get her up. Get her down here.
Over there dreaming about rebounds.
I don't even know how they did. They could always find me in my room. Too.
Lenny was the only.
You know how many sprints we had to do because you were late? Lenny.
One time.
It just took one time.
Because the phone was off the hook. Remember?
That's your excuse.
See, back then we didn't have call waiting. So
Lenny, who ended up getting you up?
Julie saw me in class.
No.
Julie, she's like, Len, you missed practice today. I was like, my whole body just fainted.
Yeah. What I like to lob out to the group is, do you feel like you were the pioneers as it relates to Georgetown women's basketball? And then kind of fast forward that, because you guys were the first ranked team ever in women's hoop. And then you fast forward to 2010, 2011, that team was ranked as high as number 10 and number 11. Do you feel like you set the standard? And then if you could, again, this probably is more for you, Coach Reid, fast forward to where the women's brand is today. But I'd like to hear each of you kind of talk about that, because from my vantage point, I'm looking at this is Mount Rushmore to me. It's Mount Rushmore.
Well, I think when you're in the moment, when you're living it, you want to make it the best experience as possible. Because I love the game. For me, I just wanted to be as good as I could. I worked as hard as I could because I loved playing, and that was my end goal. Was our team getting to where it needed to be in the end, and that work ethic that we put into it day in and day out. So when you're in the moment, it's interesting because you don't really think about, where am I going? Where is this journey taking me? All you are is just working, it's the grind every day. And we were fortunate enough that we gelled. It all came together, and it was such a ride, and, fast, rewind 25 years. And it was, by far, I could, that snapshot of that year of my life was, still one of the best moments of my life, because you loved what you were doing. You were free, in the sense of you just did it, you didn't have to think about anything. And so, I think putting Georgetown on the map, we weren't thinking about it at the time. It was a consequence of all of our hard work and how it just worked out really well for us. And I love these gals. These guys are my rock, and they're my teammates. And anyone called me up and said, "Hey, I need help." It's like, where do I need to be? What do I need to do? Because we were in the grind for hours and hours, and at probably like the hardest moments in your lives. You don't really, you don't think you can do that extra sprint. You don't think that you can do that extra drill, but you do it because you see, Leni's doing it. Well, most of the time, but Niki's doing it, Nadira and Trisha Chorus, even when they have sprained ankles and they're sprained whatever or broken whatever, they're still working through it. And that's grit right there.
I remember Nadira used to have her knee tape, finger tape, back tape. I mean, she was taped up like a mummy and still was out there practicing. But anyway, yeah, Chris, you're exactly right. I don't think we came in with the intentions of turning the whole program around. I think we just came in with our passion for the game. Like, it was just like, one day they're like, Leni, you're the all-time leading rebounder. What? Not statistics was never in my I never looked at stats. I mean, some people do, but it's what you do on the floor, how you perform on the floor. I wasn't a stats person, so I really didn't know how good, it really was.
Well,
Now,
we're here to give you, we want you to have your flowers while you're here.
Thank you.
And that's what this is about. So
Thank
I appreciate you. Like, again, whether these are facts, like this is not fiction. So, again, just listening to Chris describe the relationship got me over here, because that to me is the most important thing. And that's what this is about. We have to, both men's and women's, we have to share these experiences. Our point of views are unique. They mean something. And if I'm looking at Georgetown and I see something like this, how we're paying respect to those that came before us or before me, if I'm a potential recruit, I don't think there's anything better. So, Leni, if you say one more time, if you sell yourself one more time, I just met you, but I'm coming through the phone. I'm coming through the computer. So you did the numbers. You did the work. You did the hard work.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't know how many ankles she broke too when she grabbed that rebound. People would fall. Be like, oh, Leni got a rebound. There's 3 people lying down next to her. She just went up and went down, and so did everybody else.
Chris, it was like roles. Chris was the shooter, Niki was the mother.
Exactly.
I was the rebounder. Like, they didn't have to worry about rebounding. Chris can go down the floor and get ready to shoot because that's what she do. Because she depended on me to get that rebound.
What was impressive though was
Niki was the leader to make this happen.
Was the leader, but she stepped up. Niki stepped up her game with the 3-point shot. She added that 3-point shot to her repertoire.
And she won the game in Connecticut with the last 4 seconds, Nick.
Yeah, it was
He hit the buzzer beater to beat Connecticut in front of 6,000 people. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Big champions.
If someone has film of any of those games, please feel free to email me that film, because I was digging in the crates. And I have to give a shout out to John Regan. And I don't know if you guys know this gentleman. He is like this unofficial Georgetown historian, because wow. I was literally digging in the crates for pictures and info, and because for some reason Georgetown women's basketball stops at 2001 in terms of stats, and so I had to dig a little bit deeper. This gentleman had all the intel, had some pictures that I needed. So I want to give him a shout out. And basically, I guess I'm also putting it on the table. How can we get better with our intel? Because it's important. Because like I said, I feel so privileged to have this opportunity to talk to you three. And I'm going to keep saying it.
Wait a minute, did they have phones back then when we played?
Probably
Nope.
not. Well, I'm
No,
older
I
than everybody on this phone. I don't know
I
what
think
it's called.
I think maybe we had VHS tapes. I don't probably.
That's exactly
I
Yeah,
don't even know what that means.
We had beepers.
No, Lenny, you had beepers. Lenny, you had beepers.
You were the only one, Lynn.
I'm sorry. I was so
We don't know
important.
where you were going, who was beeping you, and where you had to go so quickly. No,
I
I'm
was
out.
so
You'd
important,
say.
really. Probably my mom.
No, I'm sure.
So, Coach Reid, where do you see the women's basketball brand at right now?
No, I think
I'm sorry. Where do I see? Can you repeat the question?
Lenny, not you. It's Niki.
Yeah.
Oh, go, Niki.
Thanks, Lynn. This is like a role reversal thing, right? Normally, I'd be right in there, but I think the brand is headed in a great direction. I mean, just where women's basketball across the country is going, I think that we're right there on the cusp. I mean, we played a game yesterday. We started 3 freshmen at the guard, 2 sophomores at the post position. So, I just think it's headed in the right direction. We've got the right group of kids. It's so funny, like, we've got pieces just like what I see on the screen. We've got pieces just like I saw on our roster when we played, people who understood what their role was and wanted to fulfill that. So, yeah, I think, for us, I think you alluded to this earlier in terms of just the pioneers of Georgetown basketball. I mean, I'm just blessed to be on here with these 2 Hall of Famers right here.
Yeah, no doubt. And I don't want to not talk about what we're currently going through as a country. What we're currently going through in the world. How are you each handling this? It's a crazy time, but by the same token, I think it's also a time for opportunities like this to share and reflect and to, because we need it. I know I need, every time I do one of these, I leave and I feel so much better. I may be a wreck while I'm doing them, but as soon as I get off, I feel more empowered, I feel more enhanced. And like I said, this is an important one for me, but I'd like to know how each of you are handling, the pandemic and just how challenging times are right now.
Well, I can start because I'm as a healthcare worker, I'm on the front line. I may not be working in a hospital, but I'm seeing 40 to 50 patients a day. And, I think it's been for my profession in the beginning when things went on lockdown, I was on lockdown. I stopped seeing patients and only for emergency purposes. And so it started there. Being in Florida, they opened up pretty quickly. And I've been kind of pushing through these last, 7 to 8 months, although stressful, wondering, even though I mask up and I gown up and, it's the pandemic is the actual virus itself is so contagious. And, will I come home and give it to my family? What will happen if I do get it? Thankfully, I haven't yet, but there's been a lot of my employees and staff that have gotten it, and we've had to shut our practices down, but we've been pushing through it. It makes us stronger. It's just like, it's the grit, it's the grind, my philosophy in the beginning, I was scared, but I think being scared opens you up to things that, you almost have to be strong to, approach things like this. And so being fearful is not the way to live your life. And that's sort of where I've come to grips with it. And so, I live my life, I do what I need to do. I take the proper precautions, and that's how I've been handling the pandemic. I mean, I've had a family member, my mother-in-law passed away in July from it. And so it's affected our family significantly. So it's been very, a roller coaster ride. I don't think they've had a pandemic since 1918. And so that in itself, is, it's a change. It's different. And I'm not even going to get into the political thing because that's what people are trying to make of this. And so, I don't want to hide. I just want to, live in my profession and do what I need to do to care for my patients. But, in the end, I think 2021 will be looking better and brighter. I'm excited for, the new year and, a new White House, you name it. I think things will be looking up for the next, couple of years, 4 years, that kind of thing. So that's kind of my take on it. Was that too solemn? Everyone's so quiet.
No. We wait for Leni to jump in.
I'm like, oh my God, did I scare everybody away?
No. I mean, again, it's a reflective time.
Hey, I got my medicine kicked in. Shut up.
No.
I'm good now. Seriously, the pandemic, you know what? It was out to harm us, but it was really for good. It shut down my program. But luckily, a program from New York came to Delaware and merged with my program that kept us going. But we had to shut down, wear masks while we play, take temperatures before you come into the building. It was a lot of extra things going on around this COVID thing. First and foremost, safety. Just staying safe. I work from home right now. You guys, I'm a teacher. Don't laugh. Anyway.
No, Leni, you could.
Yeah, they laugh. Anyway, I'm working virtually from home, which I like. I really enjoy it. Versus being in the building. Other than that, just hope everybody's family's safe.
Coach, it must be extremely challenging for you. I can only imagine.
Yeah, we're definitely looking at it from a different perspective and a very challenging perspective. We've been on pause twice already this year. So, for athletes, we're used to planning things and you're in control of your life. And I think for everybody around the country, you're dealing with these challenges. So just trying to get college students to understand during the best 4 years of your life, supposedly, you've got to stay still. There's certain things you can't do. For us, we're here kind of reminiscing on our experience as a college athlete. And for these young women, it's totally different. Young men, it's totally different. So we're doing the normal thing. We're testing 3 days a week. We're masked up and everything. I mean, there's certain things you can do. No cafeteria, no social interaction with anyone else.
I tell you, Nick, maybe you can help me. I was trying to put myself in the shoes of an athlete, and if this was going on when I was a freshman or sophomore, how challenging and difficult that would be, and how it would have changed my college experience. And not probably for the positive, but for the negative. I mean, part of college is the social interactions. I mean, you learn so much becoming, just the diversity, learning about other people, socializing. I mean, you grow up in college. I at least, I might have taken me a little longer, but most people grow up in college, I think, and then to not be able to play. I mean, that's what remember we're just talking about us, and all we wanted to do was play. All we wanted to do was play the game, and that somebody's going to tell us you can't, because, understandably so, but how emotionally, what an emotional distraction that would be.
And that's probably been one of the biggest challenges. I mean, to date, we've only played 4 games to date, and it's because we've been on the pause. And if not us, another team has had to pause because of it. And you're right, it's a time when you're stretching, growing, learning a lot about yourself. Now, they're still doing that, but in a very difficult space. We've had to be very creative. I mean, you can look at athletes around the country, and mental wellness is something that we have to make sure that we stay on top of with our young ladies. So, it's challenging. We've got about 500 students on campus. That's it. Imagine Georgetown's campus with only 500 people there. So it's difficult. They can't go to the cafeteria. Sometimes food is delivered to them. So it's very difficult. But what I will say is they've been very resilient. The bond that we have is the bond that they're building, and everybody's kind of going through this and supporting each other together. from our Georgetown family to their home and their families as well. So it's been a challenge. It's been a challenge, but we're pushing through. And I think you said it best, Chris. 2021, we're looking forward to the positives and looking ahead.
And what I'd like to move to from there is, I feel like the bond that I'm being able to view between you three is something pretty special. So I guess I'd like for you to reflect back on your time on the hilltop, and maybe share a story or two that would stay in the locker room, but it's still okay for public consumption. That you could share, and it doesn't have to be about yourself. It could be about a teammate, because you've already done it. Like you mentioned some teammates, which again, to me, is why I started this show with women hoopers that were important to me, that I was able to experience while I was there, because I went to the women's games, because that was it was a natural thing for me. That should be a natural support system. So if you can also touch on if that's something you experienced while you were there, but also share a story or two, because again, I know this is a Sunday, this is a day of rest, and I really appreciate and respect your time. So, I just, if I could get a story or two from you, I'd really appreciate it. And I'm sure those few people that are watching would love it too.
I got one. I got one.
I know you do. You know what? I'm getting your digits out. I got your digits. I'm gonna be calling you.
Most I've ever talked. My buddy, it is. I feel comfortable. Well, anyway, me, Chris, and Niki, we were freshmen, and we were not used to long runs, like runs to the monument.
You are not gonna do this.
She cut you off already.
Oh, I know where this is going.
All you know is shoot and shoot.
No. Go ahead, Leni.
No.
Yeah.
We're fresh. We think we're slick, so we let the upperclassmen go. We're gonna find a shortcut. As if anybody knows, Georgetown on the hill's hilly.
That's why I was on the hilltop.
But we didn't know how steep. So Witfill went first.
I think it was my idea too.
She tumbled all the way down. Me and Niki just watched her tumble. She came up. Did you have a bruise on your knee? She had scraped her knee.
I'm so lucky I didn't break something.
Lesson learned. We never cheated again. We will never take a shortcut ever again. That's the lesson. We tried it and it didn't work. It was hilarious, Gene. It was hilarious.
But here's the funny part.
He was like, no deal.
Oh yeah, I remember you two. You guys were way up there, and you're just like, oh no way. And I'm like, take one for the team. Come on down. You're like, no, we're good.
It was almost a fire truck. We almost needed a fire truck to get her out of here.
Yeah. I don't know how that was probably
But how about this? The best part of the story is the upperclassmen, Gene, knew exactly what we did. So we let them get ahead of us. They get back to McDonough, and remember, in front of McDonough was that huge parking lot. So we'd be able to kind of sit back and wait for them to get there. Upperclassmen were waiting in the locker room. When we got back, they looked at the three freshmen like, "Don't ever do that again." Exactly what y'all were doing.
So did Coach Knapp know?
No.
But see, the strength in numbers. That's awesome. That didn't work out.
All right, I got another one.
Oh God.
No, this isn't bad. This is actually during practice, right? We were freshmen, and it was that was it the 15 in a minute, the sideline, the side to side. You remember that?
Yep, I'll do it.
It was the hardest thing ever. We're like, oh, we can do this. And then Coach Knapp's like, we did our first one. He's like, again, because somebody missed it. I don't know who that could have been, Leni. We didn't make it in a minute. Anyway, I was getting so tired. It was getting close it was that countdown. It was 3, 2, and I just dove for that sideline. And I'm like, I'm out. It's like I did this slide, and I'm just like, did I make it? I didn't care. I just wanted to make it. I was like, do we have to do it again? And they're like, no, you made it. I was like, oh, thank you.
You did a Pete Rose on us.
I did. Remember that? Were you there? Were you on the sideline barfing? Were you barfing, Lenny? Were you in the trash can?
I had an asthma attack. My very first practice.
That's right. Yeah.
My freshman year, our first practice, had an asthma attack. Didn't know what hit me. Ladies, the level of conditioning was three notches above what I was used to. And most of these kids, Niki, probably they're the stars of their teams, and they don't have that work ethic. Like, we got to put it in them. You got to make them do it. You know what I'm saying? But Niki, you're doing a great job.
Yes,
You're doing a great job.
Yes, you are. We're really proud. We're really proud of you.
I'm excited that she's home. She's back home. I'm psyched. That's the best.
Coach, I'd like to touch on that. I don't mean to get you out of your story mode, but I hope you come back
Lenny
and
got the best.
What has that been like? Just your coaching journey, and to find yourself back to where you laid down some serious tracks.
It's really been an amazing experience. Like you said, Lynn, it's home. It's where I grew up. It's where I learned about myself, the good, the bad, the ugly, all that good stuff. So it's a way of me giving back to these young women, pushing them, stretching them to become better people than they were when they stepped in. And I think that's one of the things that we can say from our basketball journey, from our personal journey, from an academic journey, that we got better over those 4 years. Georgetown is the same, but it's changed quite a bit, as you guys know. We've always been family is funny. I think it's been like 2 years since we actually spent this much time together, Leni and Chris. It was like an alumni event, but it's like, it feels like yesterday, and I think that that's the same thing that goes on at Georgetown right now. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Like, I can promise y'all, I'm telling y'all, we're right there with these young kids who are very, very hungry, And I just have an opportunity to just share stories with them over and over again about, same classroom, same dorms, same living environment, same challenges, same expectations. And that's where we are.
Not the same locker room, though.
I can say the same thing. They got a different locker room too.
Well, and this too, y'all, wearing that Jordan brand is a little different.
I'd like to ask the three of you, and this is kind of a broader question, and just talking about the WNBA, because again, looking at it from a spectator's point of view, I think the WNBA has been more on the front line. I think they have been more expressive. I think they're more committed. And this is not a comparison. This is just, my point of view and what I see. The game clearly has evolved, just like the men's game has evolved. It's changed. But I just think that the women's are, they're front and center. And I'd like for each of you to touch on that if you can. Are you surprised? Leni, you played in Germany, correct?
France.
France. Okay. Just how you seeing things change, and if you have similar sentiments or you see it differently.
Well, like you said, Niki said, this is a whole total different generation that I'm trying to get adapted to. But one thing I will say, and I keep it real, is that fundamentals don't change. I don't care how old we get, how your NBA, WNBA, that's what my key is on the fundamentals. But the WNBA, I think I tried out for the Detroit Shocks, and there were approximately 350 of us. And at the time, there were only 4 made teams. Okay, so I made it to the last cut. I was happy, but I was heartbroken. But that's all that we had at the time. It's now a bigger franchise. I see a lot of semi-pro leagues, women that graduate. They're like stuck in the middle. Don't have nowhere. They're not going overseas. They're not going to the WNBA, but they have a team they can play with, and that's being spread all over. I think that's great. It wasn't nothing like that for me. Like it's like when you finish, you're just done. If you don't we don't go overseas, we're just done. And like all that hard work and stuff, like
Yeah.
it's just like you get into the real world, like just get pushed into the real world, like afterwards.
Yeah, I think, Lenny, I can touch on that because, I can say that we ended on such a high. We worked so hard for 4 years, and our team, we got as far as we at Georgetown had ever gotten in an NCAA tournament as far as a record goes. I was Big East Player of the Year, all-time leading scorer. You were all-time leading rebounder, Niki, all-time leading assist. So we had all these accolades and to show for our hard work. And I remember saying to myself, I just want to take basketball as far as I can. And at the time, it was going overseas. And that's all I wanted to do. Like my goal was to get overseas because there was nothing here. And I remember graduating and I didn't have a job. So I graduated from Georgetown with a Georgetown degree. Here I'm on this high, all these accolades. I come home for the summer and quiet, nothing. I was lost. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have a job to go overseas at the time. Thankfully, I got an opportunity to play in Germany. So of course I took it, but it wasn't elevating my game. It was actually taking a step down. And so I'm saying, okay, well, this is a great experience, but I'm done. I can't do this anymore. So, WNBA wasn't an opportunity for us. And so, I had to make a decision. I tried coaching and, I realized I wanted to be out on the court. And so that was really my thing. I was a player at heart. So, I had to make this decision in my life, a pretty hard decision. Well, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And I can probably be an example of, I didn't take my academics seriously. I mean, I did well in school, but I didn't take it seriously because my ate, breathe, lived basketball. And so the only thing I could say to myself, and I can thank my sister because she had gotten into medical school. She's a podiatrist now. And I said, if my sister can do it, I can do it. And that was really, and I just said, okay, my sister and I have equal these, she'll say probably not, that I'm a lot more, she's a lot more intelligent than I am. And I'll give her that, that's one for you. I think my sister's watching. So I'll give her
have
that.
the buckets you got. You don't have the buckets.
Yeah, right. I know. Well, in high school, she passed me the ball. So I got to give her props for that too. But anyway, we're a year apart. So, I said, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And so I'm like, okay, well, I think I'm smart enough. If I just put that same energy and grit to what my career is, I can do it. And I had that confidence and built and instilled in me. And so, I fast forward 25 years, and the reason I'm in the position I am right now is everything I learned back in my work ethic in high school and everything I matured and became and learned and developed at Georgetown. And so, we're like broken records when we get together, our teammates, we all talk about this and because we're, if you look at the history of former athletes in general, I have a special liking to former athletes because I know the hard work that it takes to get where you need to be. And, they're successful in their own right. And you can look at our history of women's basketball and where everybody is in their careers. We have some extremely successful previous former players, and they're all going to say the same thing, the grit and the grind, the everyday. So for women, I'm excited that there is an opportunity for women in the WNBA because I think that's amazing that women can take their sport and become professionals at it and make a career out of it. So I'm done rambling. Yeah. Thank you for listening.
It was great.
And a little bit to your point, I think I took a totally different path. For me, the point guard, the leader, sometimes they call me the mama. Kind of knew that coaching was kind of what I wanted to do. I know, right? That's like I called them today, like 20 minutes.
That kind of happens when you're a 4-year starter.
Lenny, that's another story for later.
No.
That's one of those keep it in the locker room stories.
No. We're
I
good.
wanted to stay in the game, so for me, I decided to take, that college coaching route. And I will say, had the WNBA been here when we were here, there's no doubt Chris and Leni would still be playing, And for me, I look at somebody, Lynn, like a Rebecca Brunson, who took exactly what you did and went with it. Becky did what you did. She was a rebounder. She became the WNBA's all-time leader in rebounder. She's a business owner. She's doing her thing because of you. Chris, I look at like Sugar Rogers.
Thank you, Niki.
Sugar Rogers to watch you.
That's dope.
Yeah, Sugar Rogers watched Chris. She's still in the league, still playing. 6th player in the WNBA. So this is like the foundation right here, ladies, in terms of who started it. People who've been behind us watched you, Leni, on the boards, watched you scoring, Chris, and we're able to build on it. So I'm glad that it wasn't there for us, but we've got 2 Hoyas that are doing their thing in the league and beyond.
Shout out, big time shout out. You guys are killing me. You guys are killing me with this love. You're killing me. Markham just texted me, and he's going to yell at me for saying that he just texted me, but I'm saying it anyway. Could you guys touch on the relationship between the men's and women's program, what that was like? Because when I was there, for the most part, the men's program was ran by, it was a seniority-based deal. So you pretty much followed the senior leadership. And I had individuals that were, legendary. So they attended the women's games. So it was almost like, of course, that's something I'm going to do as I continue to matriculate through Georgetown. But if you guys can touch on what that relationship was like. And Niki, I'm going to need you to get Markham off my back for saying that he told me to ask that. So.
And it's so funny, like as we're talking to you, you keep talking about us being legendary. I mean, you.
No, that's not this show. That's not this show.
I just thought I'd bring it back. NCAA championship ring. Just saying.
Dang.
They got the ring.
That kind of starts it right there. I think we took a lot from what we saw coming from the men's program and what you guys meant for just college basketball, for ESPN and the Big East. Even the culture at that time was like Georgetown starter jackets, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we took a lot of what we did and where we wanted to be based off of what we saw you guys do. And we had great relationships with the basketball players, It was only us. It was only us and the men's team on campus during Christmas break. So there was definitely that bond there. But I'm going to tell you there's one story that I don't think I will ever forget. And Leni and Chris can kind of attest to this. We go to practice, go to the cafeteria in New South. And then after that, we're sitting in our dorm room. So we get a phone call from Coach Knapp saying Big John saw us run some set. He wanted us to get our gear on, come back down to Georgetown, back to McDonough, and play against the guys. So, what? You mean I'm going to be up there playing, against Joey Brown, and I think Lynn was going up against Zoe and Dikembe, and Chris is out there going against Church. But it was something that he wanted us to get on the court and do with the men's basketball team. Wow. And I thought that spoke volumes. And I think Lynn still thought she was going to be able to rebound and dunk.
Gene, I was so hyped. I was trying to dunk it. I don't care.
You're supposed to. You're supposed to.
No, I was so psyched. Like, what?
So listen, I quickly went from a shooter to a passer. That's all I was doing. Passing the ball.
You know what they say about athletes, short-term memory.
Listen, I think Trish tried to shoot she shot a 3-pointer, and Dikembe was in the paint by the hoop. He just stuck his hand out and he blocked that thing from the paint. I'm like, how did somebody do that?
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
I'm like, no, he didn't.
Can you imagine if that happened today, the pictures that you would have?
Oh,
The
yes.
photos would speak
Amazing.
volumes about
I
that
know. Yeah.
relationship. Yeah. Well,
Listen, I
ladies,
know George, John Thompson, a legend, and he did so much for Georgetown and the men's basketball team. And, he took, these boys that became men and just, helped, create a legend within the university. I think it was hard for us, we were constantly overshadowed because they practice in the same gym that we played our games in. And I think, if John Thompson would get mad, he was so strict. I remember he would tape off all the edges so nobody could peek. There was these little creases, and, practice, he'd tape up those little creases so nobody could see his practices. And if he'd get mad at one of his players, they'd keep playing. They'd keep practicing. And if we had a game, it didn't matter. If John Thompson said, we're going to keep going, we're like, okay, we're waiting till the doors opened. And then, but that's the way he ran his program. But, he had to. He was such an amazing coach with such an amazing reputation. But it was interesting because the one year we made it to the NCAA tournament, the men made it to the NIT.
NIT, yes.
The NIT. And when we made it, they were finishing practice and the doors open. He lined up all his players, right? And we walked out and they clapped. You guys remember this? They all clapped for us.
They did
You guys are killing me. You guys are killing me.
Do you remember the bridge? Do you remember the bridge? They're all
yes.
the tunnel. We ran through the tunnel.
Yes. And we didn't know what to do. We're like, are we supposed to walk out through this? We're like, wow. And, John Thompson was at the end just clapping his hands and saying congratulations to us. And so it was like an amazing feat. What a proud moment for us, that, the men's team was recognizing us for all of our hard work. Cause we literally were in the same building, and spent all the time under the same roof, so it was nice to be recognized.
Incredible. Ladies, we're over an hour. Again, I want to thank you for your time. I could do this all day. Like that story, Chris almost had me in tears, because that's how it should be. And again, this is what we want to promote. I think it shows the bond that we have, and I can't thank each of you enough. And if each of you would, have a final word or something that you'd like to express, because we want to continue to build this way as a program. We have a very special program. It's very diverse. It's very unique. And we have to be our own bully horn. We have to express that, because again, I'm not going to wait. I'm hoping someone younger takes this and runs with it, because this should be a constant. And I can't thank each of you enough, but if you have a parting word, I don't want to take up too much of your time. As I've already done.
Gene, I was just going to say, Gene, thank you for the opportunity. When Niki let me announced, hey, this is what was going on, I didn't hesitate. This for me, it was a no-brainer to come on here and talk with my former teammates, talk to you a little bit about our experiences. And honestly, I would do this, in a heartbeat for anyone or anything, because it just brings back wonderful memories, and you can kind of get an idea of how wonderful they were for us, because we could keep going forever.
Yeah.
All day.
The world. Go ahead, Leni. I'm sorry.
Nope, you summed it up. I just want to thank you, Gene, for just having the opportunity to be at Georgetown, to play and have great people, alumni as yourself. And it has been the best experience of my life. And I just want to thank, all the fans. I'm just overwhelmed with joy with the career I had at Georgetown. It was beautiful. Niki?
Just to piggyback off of that, Gina, and thank you so much. There is this bond that we all have, having been there on the hilltop for 4 years, and just so many positive experiences. Again, it was about our growth and development. So I just want to thank you for giving us this platform to share our stories with everyone. And like I always tell everybody, Hoyas for life.
Hoyas for life. Hoya Sox. I want to thank each one of you again. I will be reaching out because I want to continue this. It doesn't stop here. But like I said, I really appreciate, this has been incredible for me. Just want to give you a Hoya salute.
Oh,
Thank each and every one of you.
Thank
And
you.
I won't be a stranger. I promise you. I'll hit you up, and you don't have to respond because old people don't need you to respond back. It's okay.
Hey,
But
we're,
no,
we're right there with you.
so
We get it.
thank you so much. I can't thank each of you enough. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks,
you too.
Steve.
God bless.
God bless.
Love you
Bye,
guys.
girls. Love ya.